This is Roll for Crit, Jonathan here along with Will, and we just got news that Knight Models, the miniatures game company, has officially announced the Harry Potter Miniatures Adventure game. They just launched a trailer for the game. This is something we knew they had the rights for since almost a year ago. We had already talked about it previously on our channel, but now they have actually officially announced a new Harry Potter Miniatures game. Not a lot of info, but there is this trailer, which is under a minute long, so we're going to make do with what little we have to talk about this right now. We both watched it. What were your first impressions, reactions to this trailer, Will?
Well, they definitely did an amazing job at getting someone to paint the miniatures. Mm-hmm. And I was like really impressed because usually when I see a lot of human, just generic human painting, it's like, yeah, but these are disturbingly impressive.
They do look pretty good. Of course, they won't be painted in the standard version. I don't know if they'll have other versions, but you can also see the unpainted ones in the trailer.
We should mention this will actually be coming to Kickstarter March 14th.
Right.
And I've seen plenty of Kickstarters have a painted pledge level, which this might possibly have. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised considering this is much more of a mainstream thing, so they might be able to convince more people to do it. Also, is it just me, or is the Hermione miniature looks so much better? Like Ron and Harry are just staying there. She has a scarf going around her, like
she looks very. It's a very action heavy pose.
Ron's just like, yeah, I got a wand, so what?
Well, the other thing that is kind of weird about these miniatures is they're clearly based on the movie versions of the characters, right? They look just like those actors,
right?
Which is the same direction that, the deck building game also used photos from the movie. And I guess it's just easier for them to have a real person to build off of.
Well, it's a real person to build off of, and also if you made their own characters, like designs, you're probably going to piss off more people.
Yeah.
Do you remember how many people got angry when people said Hermione might be black?
Yeah, I guess that's true. Also, Hermione in the books is supposed to be like, not pretty. But that's not another issue. Also that Hermione figure, the thing that stood out to me is she just looks very angry. She looks real intense. Like everyone has this kind of air of, oh boy, they're real serious and they're about to get in a fight, which I guess is kind of the tone of this game. It's like, it seems a little on the dark and gritty side, but I guess it's the battle part of Harry Potter, so that's why.
I think it's also because we're playing a miniatures game where I assume this is going to be more battle heavy than puzzle and stuff oriented.
Right, so it's going to be a 2+ player, they said, miniatures game. The Batman game does have a campaign book where you can link things together, but as far as I know, Knight Models, they haven't done anything like a narrative story like the Fallout miniatures game had. But something like that seems like it might fit better here.
Well, I assume you're going to probably follow through the books.
Right, yeah.
There's a lot, I want to say there's a lot less freedom to move around, or at least it feels like that when comparing Fallout or Batman. Probably because Batman's had so many stories, it's like you could do whatever you want.
You mean in terms of the lore, not like the literal movement.
Right. Well, what I would really love to see them do is, because I think it would fit in with the lore of Harry Potter, is the boards could actually move, like the staircases and stuff. Like, that would make it stand out a little bit. Like, you might be like, okay, I can hide behind here, then run over there. The next thing you know, it shifts over one. You're like, uh-oh.
That would be very cool and very, very neat. We can see from the 2 pictures they've shown of boards, it looks like one is kind of a dungeon and one is maybe the Forbidden Forest or some kind of location like that. There's some spider minis. It's definitely outdoors. I don't see any that's looks like specifically Hogwarts itself. Maybe underneath Hogwarts is what that is, probably.
Actually, I'm pretty sure that's the Hogwarts sigil on one of the tiles.
They have
it looks
a sigil?
like a big flat table.
Oh, that. You also see the basilisk. I think that's a basilisk.
That's definitely the basilisk. We know this is based off the movie, so when else does a giant snake appear?
Yeah, and that could be a cool
in fact, that looks like, I'm pretty sure that's the movie's The Chamber of Secrets.
Right. Right, yeah.
That tile that the basilisk is on.
We see lots of characters. We said Hermione, Ron, Harry. I see a bunch of teachers, Snape,
A
Mad
bunch
Eye
of Death
Moody,
Eaters.
What's her name? Bellatrix Lestrange, and all these. I got these Death Eater masks. Is that what they looked like in the movies? I don't remember those. They look creepy.
I cannot remember either.
At first I looked at them, and because Night Models did the Suicide Squad game also, and I was like, is that Croc from Suicide Squad? It's kind of what that looks like. But so it looks like there's a lot of stuff. You can also see lots of different cards and tokens and
Yeah, that's actually where I wish we had more information on. I'm curious on what the cards do and how they interact. It looks like there's some stacking and I want to say like buffing. Like you see one card with a blue circle in it and another blue circle underneath. So is there a way to upgrade a spell or something? Right. In particular, I'm curious because you've actually played the deck building game.
Mm-hmm.
And I haven't, so I don't actually know how it works. It looks like you could, assuming this is two people, like they have 4 spells prepared. How would you think of that comparing it to the deck building?
Yeah, I mean, the deck building game is really, it's pretty much straight up a deck building game, and each person just kind of has one special ability. But as the game goes on, you kind of collect more and can upgrade your characters in a way. So it's pretty different. I think it would be cool if you have like sort of a D&D style. You have to choose which spells you're taking into the fight or something like that. Although it wouldn't make much sense in Harry Potter lore to do that.
Well, no, I don't. I disagree because hypothetically, let's say you do know a lot of spells. I mean, just think about when you play like a video game or something. You rely on certain combos. Like even though you could know a lot of spells, you still are going to think of maybe 4 first off the top of your head.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I don't know. Harry Potter spells sometimes require materials, I think, besides a wand. So I guess you could say that is a thing.
I mean, I think there's a certain amount of gamification allowed to a point.
For sure, yeah.
And I will say, I know one of the things back with the deck building game, we griped a little bit about just taking photos from the movies, mostly because, or at least I did, because I just find that very lazy and doesn't look as good usually. Mm-hmm. Even though this is based off the movie, because they're miniatures, I think it's better because it's like a little different and they're in poses. Like I don't think some of these like it's like, oh yes, the famous scene in the movies when the scarf goes flying around. Like I don't think there's anything like that. And you could paint them differently, like especially like the generic figures like the Death Eaters or something. If you felt like no, they should look like this, so it allows a little bit of creativity on the whoever has the game.
Yeah, I agree. They look pretty solid. And, you know, if they ever make a Harry Potter role-playing game, you can use these minis for that. Why not?
Oh, yeah. That would. I mean, honestly, you probably could just take a character you like the model of and just paint it differently to be like, this is me.
Sounds, yes, perfect. I'll just be a sad muggle who can't do anything.
You just take like one of the figures, but cut the wand out, and like I'm around, just standing around, just really sad.
Yeah, sounds right.
The biggest gripe right now, from what we can see, is the box. It is the most unimpressive box I think I've ever seen.
It's very. It just looks like a tin of cookies you'd buy at Walmart or something.
Yeah, no, it's those tin of cookies. You know, when you look at it and you're not sure whether it actually has cookies in it or sewing supplies.
I guess, do you think they're banking on the fact that a lot of people will buy so many minis that they're not going to use the box anyway? Maybe
it could be that. First of all, it looks like a tin, not a box.
Right.
It could also be that it's just Kickstarter. We haven't made the final box art yet or something.
Yeah.
Because I mean, think about it. You should be focusing on the minis first before your box art.
Right. So as you said, this is going to be on Kickstarter March 14th. We don't have a lot of info, but I'm guessing it's going to be on the pricier end of things, probably like in line with like $60 to $80 for a core set. And we'll see how it does. Make sure you like and subscribe and leave your comments down below.
Before it's too late!